let's do the human embryo and fetus models. So here are the models here, and there is a lot of repetition with structures with these models. So right here with the first one, you can see a 4-week embryo here, just like we see here in this model, as well as right here. So let's do some structures here. The first thing I want to show you would be the vagina and cervix. So here is the vagina right here, and here's the cervix. This structure here would be a cutaway of the uterus. This is the embryo right here. Let's look at the ovary. So here is the ovary right here. Next, we have the fallopian tube or uterine tube, which connects to the uterus right there. So here is the uterine tube or fallopian tube. Here is the fimbriae right here, which comes in contact with the surface of the ovary. Fimbriae right here. And then right here, we can see the ovarian ligament right here. Here's the ovarian ligament. Here's the broad ligament. Next, we have the uterus, which I've already showed you. It's a cutaway of it. And we have the placenta right here. Now, we have the maternal tissue right here in red. Here's your maternal tissue. And then right here we have the embryonic tissue. Maternal tissue and embryonic tissue of your placenta. Next, we have the umbilicus. We can see a little bit of the umbilicus right here. Here's your umbilicus. And we have the embryo, of course, right there. And then the amnion is right here. And then the amniotic cavity. So amnion, right there, and then the cavity is right here. Amniotic cavity. Amnion, amniotic cavity. And let's see, we have the extra embryonic cavity right here. Right here is your amniotic cavity, and right here is your extra embryonic cavity, right here. And chorion is right here. So we're finished with this first one. And then we see the second one here. We see pretty much the same thing here. So let me bring this around here. So here is your vagina. Right here would be the cervix, just like the previous one. So cervix would be right there is your cervix, here's your vagina. Okay? Now, we can pretty much see the same thing going on here. Here's your fimbriae. Here's your fallopian tube. Here's the ovary right here. So fimbriae, ovary, ovarian ligament, fallopian tube, broad ligament again. That's this structure right here. You can see on the back, all this would be your broad ligament. And let's see, we have the fetus now. So here's your fetus. Remember the first 2 months, that's the embryo. Now after 2 months you have the fetus. So here's the fetus now. And we can see pretty much the same thing. So we have the fetus right here. Again, we have the amniotic cavity. It's all this right here. We have the amniotic fluid. We have the umbilicus right here. And then we see the maternal tissue right here. Maternal tissue of your placenta right there. And embryonic tissue right here. So maternal tissue and embryonic tissue. What's next? We have the uterine cavity right here is formed. Here is your amnion right here. This structure right here is your amnion. And in this structure here would be the endometrium. Here's your endometrium right here. Okay. Now, I think that's it on this one. So remember, there's a difference here between this one here and this one. So let me sort of review that again so you'll know the difference. So this is your embryo right here. So this is a 4-week embryo. So basically less than 8 weeks. So this would be a 4-week embryo probably. And then right here we can see the amniotic cavity here. Amnion. This right here would be your extra embryonic cavity. Chorion right here. And then right over here we can see that you have your pink structure here. That would be the amnion. This would be the amniotic cavity right here inside. And then this right here in red would be the endometrium. Endometrium. Uterine cavity right here. Okay, so let's move on to 3, 4, and 5, which is pretty much the same structures we're looking at. So here we have the fetus. Here we have the umbilical cord. Here we have the placenta. This would be your embryonic tissue, and this would be your maternal tissue. And we have the endometrium right here, your amnion right here still in pink, and this would be your amniotic cavity. And then we can pretty much see the same thing right here. So here you would see the vagina here, and then your cervix, and then right here, this structure here would be the uterine neck, as we see here. Uterine neck, right there. Okay, and you can just pretty much see the same thing right here. Well, it's harder to see now. So here's your ovary. This is your fallopian tube, or uterine tube right here. Fimbriae, which comes in contact with the surface of the ovary. And then on the back would be your broad ligament. Okay. Now these two right here are pretty much the same thing. So we will see the fetus is obviously bigger. So during the fetus stage, there is a progression in size. So this is month 3 or week 9 all the way to week 40. So there's a progressive size increase in the fetus. Okay, so we can pretty much see the same structures here, obviously. So we can see the placenta right here. This would be your maternal tissue. This would be your embryonic tissue of your placenta. We have the endometrium right here in red, obviously. In pink we have the amnion, and then this right here would be your amniotic cavity. This would be the umbilical cord right here. Here we have the uterine neck, the cervix here, and then we can see the vagina. Right there. Okay. Now, we have the last one here. We can pretty much see the same structures, obviously. We can see the placenta right here, maternal and embryonic tissue here. We can see the endometrium in red right there, and then your amnion right here, obviously, and then you can see the cavity right here, and that's your umbilical cord right there, and we can see the placenta pretty good right here. So this would be your maternal and embryonic tissue, and there's your umbilical cord. And right here, let's just flip this over on the back. You can see the ovary here, and then the fimbriae here, and this would be your fallopian tube right there. And the uterine neck is right here, obviously. Uterine neck here, and then right here we would see the cervix right here, and then your vagina. Okay, now let's look at this one here. I've already went over this one, but let's just go over it while we're here again. So let's look at the parts of it. So what we're looking at is basically this structure here. This is your 4-week embryo. Right there. And then right here we can pretty much see that you have your structures. So we can see right here. This would be the telencephalon right here. Next, we have the diencephalon right here. Next, we have the mesencephalon here. Next, we have the metencephalon right here. And then next, we have the myelencephalon. So remember, we have this right here, which would be your telencephalon. Next would be your diencephalon. And then your mesencephalon. And then your metencephalon here. And then your myelencephalon. Okay, so that is all going to give rise to the brain tissue. Next, we have the primordium of the nose. Right here. Primordium of the nose. Primordium of the eye. Right here. And maxillary process would be right here. And mandibular process or arch would be right here. Hyoid arch right here. The first branchial arch right here. And second branchial arch right here. Next, we have the heart tissue, what becomes the heart. So we have the primordium of the atrium right here. Primordium of the atrium right here. And then we have the primordium of the ventricle right here. Primordium of the liver right here. Gives rise to the liver. And then we have the anterior appendage bud right here. And posterior appendage bud right here. And we have these somites right here. Here are your somites. And that's it.